Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you in part by Story Bleich Roofing. We've got you covered. Metal, slate, tile, asphalt, shingle, you name it. We're locals you can trust. Story Bleich Roofing, right here in Pensacola, Florida. Give us a call. I'm your host, Thomas Battis, alongside two of the same short track guys in the studio as always. Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 Sportsman here at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. And Ted Baber of Ted Baber Video Productions. What's up, guys?
Good evening.
What's up?
Yeah, we've got a big show coming up for you. The big doubleheader weekend this past weekend in our backyard. But first, missing last Wednesday in the studio, we did have an event in our backyard at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola with the local classes. There were four of them to be exact. The Outlaws, Pro Trucks, Sportsmen, and the Crown Stocks. Outlaws put on a pretty good show. Just start out the week. Logan Boyette, Carter Taylor, Bubba Winslow, Gary Goodwin, and Hunter Lambert top five in those Outlaws. But they always put on a good show.
It was a good race. Gary Goodman was coming and got hung on the outside on a restart and wound up fourth. Hunter Lambert, that young man, is starting to get better and better. He's moving up. He's running top five in that Outlaw class. He gets a little bit better. They better look out for him. Logan Boyette better be looking in his rearview mirror.
Yeah. That 923 of Carter Taylor from Loosedale, Mississippi has been running pretty good here recently.
He won the race before and finished second this time. I'm going to tell you something. That's another kid that's he's getting tough, and he's going to keep getting better.
The podiums are coming hot and heavy for him, so we're going to be watching him.
Gary Goodwin, too. I mean, he's finished top three in several of the races this year. He said, what's funny with Gary is he said that he took his shocks to a shock builder and said, those shocks will work great at 200 miles an hour on a super speedway, but they weren't worth a dang at Five Flag Speedway. Bought a new set of shocks and immediately started running up front.
Yep. Yeah, and what about this legend in our backyard here, Wayne Niedecken Jr., finishing sixth in that 31 car?
Had a top three at Mobile the week before, so... Yeah, it's good to see old Junior back in a race car, man. A childhood hero of mine.
Yeah, I can only imagine him saying when he hears that, finishing sixth, he's rolling his eyes like, it wasn't that good.
I went over and talked to him before the races that night, and he said, we got to find some speed. We all ran pretty good in Mobile. He said, yeah, we were half a lap down, and you could tell he wasn't happy about it, but, you know, he's used to winning. So, I watched him win many a race at Five Flag Speedway in Mobile. So
yeah, he's been just like you say, a living legend. He's been there a long time, built a lot of cars for a lot of people, and he knows what he's doing.
Well, him and his dad was a legendary racer in this area.
Yeah, I sat with him at the Derby. I've got his number, and we're going to try to get him on as a guest here, and we'll probably just dedicate the entire show for the Niedecken story for sure. Remember being a kid, Dad would take us out, and we'd watch the Friday night show, and it would be him and his dad driving that 98, 99. Those yellow cars, good times back in the days, but I sat with him at the Derby. He's more than welcome, more than happy to come on and just kind of hang out in the studio with us, albeit on the phone. But a lot of lineage, a lot of history, and some good name drivers that he's faced. A lot of good tracks he's been to. We can't wait for that to happen. And Junior, hey, I'm just happy that he's still in it.
Looking forward to it. Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah, so we moved to the Pro Trucks. Pro Trucks, man, can you say about Trace Capers and that 01? Boy, he just keeps getting it done. Brandon Burks, Jacob Clayton, Daryl Rudd, and Cody McCauley, top five there in the Pro Truck feature. Trace Capers, man, we've said his name several times in this studio.
You'll hear more about that.
We'll mention him more later, but that young man's getting the job done, son. He's tough.
I was really glad to see Brandon Burks get a podium, too. They've been working hard trying to get that truck up front.
They have. Oh, and speaking of that, he went up to Op last weekend and borrowed Chris Cotto's Outlaw car and run second in the Super Stock feature. So Brandon's getting it done. I'm proud of him, too, man. He's a Milton boy, just a great guy.
Yeah, what can you say? He's in a 12 truck.
Yep.
Hey, 12's a good number.
Good number, yeah.
I would say, I think you have a reason for that, sir.
Yeah, I would have little reason for
Just a little reason.
Sorry, prejudice.
And, as always, the Sportsman class, the A feature, the Doc of Pensacola Sportsman. James Patrick gets it done again with B.J. Latham, Parker McDonald, Jim Pokrant right here in the studio comes away with a fourth place finish, and Daryl McDonald rounds out the top five. But, Jim, what happened there in the feature?
Not a bad race. We found an issue with our sway bar. I won't tell you what it is, but we found a major issue with the car. We packed the right rear full of spring rubbers to make it turn. It worked, but it still wasn't good enough. But we were catching Parker there at the end. But I tell you what, man, you got to thank James Patrick for some ideas, and I think we got a car that can run with them. So we're going to see what happens this next race. I found a major issue and it's fixed, so we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like you've got some time before you get back out there.
Yeah, another couple of weeks. We're gonna just some stuff I'm learning, and some people are helping me. And I got to thank Justin. I got to thank James Patrick. I got to thank James Pfeiffer with Can'tQuitFishing.com and Michael Davidson with Emerald Coast Remodeling and Trim. Michael is showing an interest in getting a crown stock, so we may have another crown stock driver to talk about here for too much longer. He's an old high school buddy of mine. But that's awesome. We had fun. We drove the car and trailer in one piece. We learned something, so there's always next week.
Yeah, and coming up is that Crown Stock Driver of the Week, which we will announce here just before we sign off. It's going to be exciting. We've got a good driver. It's a new driver, but the name has been around for a little bit, so hang tight for that. The Crown Stocks did put on a good show, and another legend. A lot of lineage in this one. Doug Thorpe comes away, and I think that's his first win in 16 years. That's what I read in the News Journal. I think I saw an article and driving that 62 car. Loki Mason, Braden Kitchen, Blaze Boykin comes away fourth, and John Taylor in the top 5 with that. But congratulations to Doug Thorpe Jr.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's probably the baddest crown stock out there, dude. That car it was built by Dave Tao, and they ain't no slacking in that car. And plus, Doug Thorpe's a heck of a race car driver. He's been around a long time, and congratulations to him. And our poor sponsor, Ryan Blake, his car went into limp mode, and he faded late in the race.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, they're basically stock, but not completely. But every once in a while, that little bug will go, oh.
Air quotes, stock.
Yes. Yeah. Big air quotes there.
Yeah, big air quotes on those. Some of them. I mean, like I said, that division is constantly racing. There's racing from the beginning of the field to the end of the field. It's exciting to watch.
All points in between.
Yes, right.
And then working through that traffic is always traffic somewhere on the track. You get about 5 or 10 laps in. Yep. It's going to be there, and you're going to have to learn to deal with it.
That's it. So, man, we had another big weekend. The following week, it's crazy. We never go back to back like that.
No.
Right. Yeah, that was all the 19th, and then the 26th with a doubleheader weekend. Here Friday night at Five Flag Speedway had the Supers with the ASA Southern Super Series race. The big field, all the names that are still sticking on our walls here in the studio. But Stephen Massey comes away with the win there on Friday night.
Yep.
Yeah, that was exciting to the end. Casey Roderick could have moved him, but he didn't. I was like hoping he would. I mean, everybody knows me. I'm not a Stephen Massey fan. But, I mean, it was a good race. They all ran good. Bubba got wrecked. I'll just say Sean because I don't want to mess up the man's last name. We were talking about this before, and it's hilarious. But the black 13 car stuck down on Bubba and sent both of them in the wall. And Bubba, we'll see later on, couldn't run Mobile for the second race. He had to borrow a car. But all in all, it was a good race. I mean, there was a lot of battling in that late model race. And I'm telling you, there was a lot of cars were on the lead lap at the end of that one.
Yeah. Dawson Sutton, Jake Finch, Michael Hine rounded out the top 5. Michael Hine, because, he lost the hair. Come on, dude. What's the deal?
Yeah, right. Got the car still with the flames on it, but man, he lost something on the back end.
But you know what? He's running in the top 5 consistently now.
Yeah, he is.
So he's starting to get it, and I think that's going to be somebody they're going to have to contend with.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, 25 super late model. And Timothy Watson, oh man. Panama City, Timothy Watson, that 28 car. Wow. We've seen better results from him, but I know he's hard at it, and we'll see him back up at the front. But some of those guys, Matt Craig, Jet Nolan, Gavin Bichelle, Michael Goddard, Sean Hingarani.
Matt Craig, I don't know what happened to him. He had
well, what about the leader? Yeah. The 28 car.
I mean, just all of a sudden, let's see, I'm going left. Oh, hard right. Bam.
And I mean, he was flat dominating. He was a half a straightaway out and driving away.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, something went.
Cole Butcher and broke, and it took him a while to get off the racetrack. They had to flatbed it off.
Yeah, because the discussion was they don't want to hurt the car anymore. Well, I got to tell you, that car was pretty hurt when it found the wall. Yeah. Same thing with Bubba's car. It was hurt pretty good. But I'm going to tell you what, they both come back in Saturday Night Mobile and run pretty well. So that's what we'll talk about in a few minutes. But some great super late models. I mean, that entire field. I mean, the 44 car to Jacob Gomes, none of those guys are slouches in that field. No, not at all.
And Dawson Sutton and Gavin Bushell, they're starting to come in the supers now.
Even Dustin Smith getting the top 10. I was happy to see that.
Oh, dude, he ran front in Mobile too. Led a
Yes,
couple laps. Dustin Smith's another one. And I tell you, funny, his dad. I didn't know his dad knew who I was. And I'm sitting there, Mitch Smith, and I'm getting a hamburger Saturday night at the concession stand. And I walked by Mitch. He's like, "Jim, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing all right, Mitch. How about you?" He said, "Doing real well." I didn't know the man even knew who I was.
No, you do.
That's a man that has money.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
It's a great guy, though, from what I've heard. It's the first time I've ever actually talked to him.
They've got a massive rig for that.
They do, but Dustin's getting better and better, and that team is starting to come on. So I'd love to see a local guy get a win, you know?
Me too.
Yeah, and Connor O'Kresick was another one, ran up front and then had some issues late in the race. He's another guy local that's pretty dang fast. It's just got some issues they got to work through.
Eighth place, you know. Yeah, we were talking about Jeremy Doss coming in 7th. You know, it was just everybody was out there, and then all of a sudden, like we said, when the Butcher found the wall, it kind of also shook the whole the lineup up just a little bit, where things didn't work out the way we were hoping they would. And Stephen Nassy had his own issues in victory lane, but we won't get into that.
Barford master.
I didn't. I was not going to say nothing.
We got to talk about it. I mean, come on, man. He got sick on himself. It happens sometimes.
Too much water. That's what
At least he didn't do the number 2 in his fire suit and have to lean up against the car and all that stuff.
Let's not do that.
Kind of like fuel in the tank. Maybe.
Yeah.
We won't go any further than that, though.
No, we're
just
good.
making a little comparison.
Yep.
So that was round 1, if you want to put it that way. They went, and you know, it's really awesome to see some of these guys having to run double duty, and then take care of their stuff, but try to be not so cautiously aggressive on Friday night, because if they don't have a backup car, which a lot of them don't, some of them do, but then they have to go Saturday night to perform. It is the same Southern Super Series.
Right.
It is still points collection. So it's tough to see a lot of these guys make it through Friday night and then perform well either both nights or one or the other. So it's difficult, but it creates great racing for the fans.
Well, that Donnie Wilson had a spare car for Cole Butcher.
Oh, yeah.
Because they just rolled one out of the truck and took it to Mobile and ended up winning. So, I mean, they had to. Some of them guys don't have it. And what was amazing to me is the big field at Pensacola, and only 14 or 15 of them showed up for Mobile.
A lot of them had commitments. Some just didn't have the time to spend there, and that's kind of unfortunate, because even though, I got to tell you, even though it was a small class and, there wasn't a whole lot of cars, the racing was good. At 95 laps, things went just a little bit sideways, but the finish was awesome.
Yeah.
The closest one I think I've ever seen. 1/1000ths of a second.
Yeah.
That's like with what's his name and Nemechek at the Derby one year.
Yeah.
Christian Eckes.
That was a great show too.
Yeah, it was.
But we got to talk about pure stock, man. You got to talk about my buddy Ben Cranford, who led quite a few laps. First time I've ever seen him out front like that, and he was looking good. And then we had a dadgum caution.
Yeah.
And he wound up overdriving a little and losing the lead to Maddox Langham, but he finished 4th. I'm really proud of my boy. Keep digging, Ben. You're going to get one of these things. I just had to throw him out there first because that was super cool to see. But Maddox Langham gets the win. And, I mean, the 06 car had to come from the back. He finishes 2nd.
Yep.
And
Thomas Norman, that 21 car, he's starting to show some.
Yeah, but he's a little rough. he got into it with the 2 car and wrecked the 2 car, and there's a little controversy there with him and Ben, but he needs to chill out a little. But we had a few new cars, and the division spread a little bit, and hopefully it'll get even better the next time.
Yeah, I see old Chris Pike out there running a pure stock in a 24 car. So.
Yeah, he's driving one of Burkett's rides, and it broke.
Right.
I think he blew up. And then the 14 car was up front, and he blew up. I mean, the 14 car scattered the motor so bad we had actually had to have a red flag to clean up the mess.
Yeah, it was bad.
There was oil from turn down the front straightaway all the way down the backstretch.
Yeah, it was. It was everywhere, and that's when you got to be conscious of where you are on the track and try to get out of the racing line. Try to make the cleanup a little bit easier and fun.
Yeah, get down on the grass. When you're blowing up, just get on the grass and stop. Just let that oil run in the grass. Don't get on the racetrack, egghead. But good. The division looked good. It was a good race, enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maddox Langham, Mason Johnston, Thomas Norman, Ben Cranford, and Connor Odom round out the top 5 in that pure stock feature. And then little bit of a redemption, I guess you would call it, for Ryan Bleich Sr. in that Crown Stocks. Man, Ryan Bleich and Doug Thorpe, Braden Kitchen, Blaze Boykin, and John Taylor at the top 5, but oh boy.
It was tight.
Yeah, it was a good race.
I'm telling you, Doug Thorpe
good
was
car count.
coming on at the end, dude.
Right on.
And Okie Mason was doing really well in the 48, but his car went into limp mode, and he ended up slowing down and finishing the race. But man, Okie was up there with him. That was a good show for a little while. I mean, it was going to come down to in an end, but congratulations to Ryan, man, another win in that car, and that's a car, one of the original ones that Tim Bryan had built.
Yes.
So that's cool. That is an OG. Original gangster outlaw stock.
It's fun to watch those guys get around there. Like we said before, there was a whole lot of cars, a whole lot of getting in and out of traffic, a whole lot of fun watching racing everywhere, and it's just, I love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a great class. Golly, it looks like so much fun. I'm bugging my buddy Jeremy Tassin to drive one of his. Or let me drive his one night. Let me just try it out.
Yeah. Hey.
I just want to see what it's like.
Well, as those races were going on, those big guys were loading up and getting their cars ready to travel just a little west of Pensacola to Mobile.
Yep. I got a little ahead of myself. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, very excited.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. We walk through the doors in this studio. We talk short track racing, and then the hair stand up on your arms. But the Supers put on another good show. Wow, in Mobile. And Mobile is a little different track.
Yeah.
Than Five Flags.
A little bit bigger, longer straightaways.
Yeah.
And it's a motor track. That's, it was obvious that Bubba borrowed a car from the 08 car.
Elrod.
Tony Elrod, and led the race with it until Jake Finch decided to squeeze in there and spin him. But it was, I guess you could call it a racing deal. It wasn't, I don't think there was any malice in Jake Finch. He was just trying to win the race.
Yeah.
And Bubba was driving a car that he'd never driven. You could tell he was outmotored because down the straightaway, they would just put a car length on Bubba every time. But he drove the wheels off of it. It's kind of funny. It makes you think Tony Elrod look at his race team and look at the car and go,
what are you guys not doing to me?
Yeah, what are you doing next week? Drive for me. I'll pay for everything. You just drive the car. But Tony Elrod's done okay in that car. But I think Bubba probably showed him a couple things. And with that help, I think Tony Elrod's going to actually run better next time he unloads. So it's something to look for.
He's going to take some notes and go, see what I can do.
Start measuring all the stuff that Bubba put in that car. But, that was one of the best super late model races I have ever seen. That was, they were side by side for the last 2 to 3 laps.
Oh yeah, it was great, and that finish was, like I said, it was close. It was the closest one I think I've ever seen. They had another one that was 8 1000s, but this was 1/4 of that, and it came down to timing and scoring to figure out who won.
Yeah. Well, Jake Finch sure thought he won it. He's got his fist pumping, and then when they come around, Cole Butcher's like, "Excuse me, I got to go to victory lane here."
Excuse me.
Yeah, Bill Roth was up in the booth making the call, and I think he jumped the gun a little bit and said it was Jake Finch, but it was that close.
Yes.
50-50. Had 2 cars crossing the stripe, and he happened to be on the other end of it. But Cole Butcher did come away with the win. Jake Finch, Michael Hind, and that Fireball 69 car with, minus the mullet, but, we can, maybe he's trying to grow back. I don't know. Jake Garcia and then Matt Craig in the top 5 there. It looks like 15 cars, but a couple of them that did not finish and one did not start. Connor Sutton, from Pensacola did not start. He broke, and didn't get to participate, but man, congratulations, Cole Butcher, the Canadian. And Donnie Wilson Motorsports, and what more can you say about Donnie Wilson and that Toyota group? Boy,
the action in that race alone from cars that were starting out back like Matt Craig, who looked like he was going to get lapped. Right. Cole Butcher, who ran in the back for the majority of the race. And Nassie got dumped twice. It broke my heart both times.
I'm sure.
And the 44 car got him the first time. And then, Casey Roderick got him the second time. Both times, Nassie was trying to drive a defensive line off of 2 and got loose, and somebody was on his rear end and turned him.
Yeah.
So
I got to give a call out to Dustin Smith again for a 6th place finish. So.
And he got out front for a little while. Yep. I think this race was a tire saving race because if you notice, there was guys that could go, and then they would go, and then they would fall back.
Right.
And then the next guy would go, and he'd fall back. So I think the tires were a big difference. It's that new Hoosier tire they're running on.
Right. What do they call them? TA1s and TA2, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. So it was a very interesting show, and congratulations to Cole Butcher. That was a hard-fought win, dude. He had to fight for that one.
Hair, teeth, and eyeballs.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Man, for Jake Finch just to miss it by that much.
Yeah, literally.
Well, I tell you that Jake Finch he's been winning in the 18 car with Ronnie Sanders in the Pro Series. He's up top 5 consistently in the supers.
Won Talladega,
won an ARCA race earlier this year. And I'm telling you, and Jake Finch is alive and well, I'm sure.
He's digging in. Michael Hines snuck in there for a 3rd place, top 5 in Pensacola, 3rd place here. He's kind of the sneaky, but it's kind of hard for him to sneak up on anybody with that flame paint scheme.
You're not sneaking.
There's no denying that's him when he's back there. But congratulations, Cole. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and along with that docket there on Saturday night in Mobile, the Sportsman came out, the Mont Louise Island Construction Sportsman cars. Chad Robinson, B.J. Latham, Parker McDonald, Darrell McDonald III, and Howard Langham in the top 5 there. Only 7 cars showed up with Bo Martin and Sam McDaniel. What can you say? Mobile's a different track, so they might not have put so much of a show on, but I mean, it was still, sportsman race, and drivers wouldn't know it.
It was a good battle early on in the 8 car. Burned off his right rear tire down to the cords, I said.
Say what?
How?
Yeah, smoked his right rear tire down to the cords, he said, and he faded late in the race. Parker wasn't a factor, but he got a good finish out of it. My car wasn't ready to go over there, so I didn't go.
How do you do that with a 602?
Well, we don't know these things.
It's kind of, and
to the cords?
Cheater! Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah. Well, the 32 had to have been just as bad because he was outrunning him. So, there's a little skullduggery going on there. But you know what? That's up to the tech man to pull that motor apart and find the problem.
Mm-hmm. Hey, just real quick, big shout out to McDonald Muffler.
Yep.
Thank you
Muffler
to them.
Mafia there,
Yeah.
Parker and Darrell, getting it done. They're still digging it, and they're cars to watch for
Well,
sure.
I got to thank them also for that sway bar that's on my car. My sway bar was bent, and they hooked me up with another one, and plus did my exhaust earlier this year for free. So that's another big shout out to the Muffler Mafia guys, man. They're great people to race with, and they'll help anybody. So thank you to them.
Yep. The Revitalized Heating and Air. Pure Stocks went over there, too. Bunch of names that we just said Friday night at Five Flags. Eli Loper, Thomas Norman, Colby McDonald, Mason Johnston, and Robert Barber. They were around the top 5 in Pure Stocks, but wow. Loper, I think, is one of the names that we've thrown around quite a few times.
That's Robert's son.
Yeah, he gets lots of practice at Mobile, so that kid's pretty good over there.
Yeah, and I got to give the Loper family some props because we were having a difficulty with the production side, and I had to get a phone number. I got the phone number I needed from them, made a phone call, and got things straightened out, and it helped us out substantially.
That's what it takes.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
Makes the dream work.
Yeah,
right.
the Pro Trucks, Trace Capers, Cody McCauley, Okie Mason, Jacob Clayton, and Maddox Lehman, the top 5 over there at the Pro Truck feature in Mobile.
Speaking of Trace Capers.
In that race, the 17 truck led the majority of that race.
Yeah.
And Trace caught him late, and he got into him a little bit. It was just a racing deal. It wasn't anything dirty, and even the 17 truck said it wasn't. But Trace Capers, we got some news about him.
Yeah, he's fixing to get a bounty put on his buns for the next race.
$500. You know one thing I don't understand about a bounty? If that driver wins again, he should get the money.
Should.
Well, that's what all the old guys have said. He put bounty. So why don't I get some more money? And they're like, no, yeah, because I'm beating them again. Give me some more cash,
In fact, I need that lettuce.
or at least give them half of it. Say, okay, if you win this week, it's $250, and the bounty goes to $500. Or up the bounty every week, make it worth a while.
I'm gonna need about $250.
After $250, and if after so many weeks, if nobody wins the bounty, guess what?
Yeah.
The driver that's winning all the races gets the money,
gets
gets
it
the
anyway.
pot. That would give him an incentive to run harder and give somebody else an incentive to run against him.
Right. Yeah.
But it has to be a legal finish. Can't knock them out of the way. You can't wreck them.
Nope.
And you can't if they can't DNF.
And the count, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The one that has the bounty on him cannot not finish the race.
Yeah, he has to finish on the lead lap too.
Yeah. And there's another bounty, too. Speaking of that, money being thrown around. The Joe Shear Classic. up there at Madison. There's a $3,600 bounty on Ty Majeski.
The Timinator.
Yeah, with the Gabe Summers and Luke Penhouse and those guys up there. John DeAngelis Jr., man, they're going to be at Madison this weekend, along with the ACT. They're running a big race at Thunderbroad Speedway, the 26th Annual Community Bank 150. But those are all the big late model races coming up that we'll have next Wednesday. But while we're on the bounty and the trucks and all this classes coming up on the 19th and this past weekend with a doubleheader, our Story Bleich Roofing Crown Stock Driver of the Week spotlight will happen to be
Mrs. D. Davis.
D. Davis.
Number 12 car. She's been racing a while. She raced against me years ago in Sportsman, and of course her daddy is 2-time Snowball Derby winner and multi feature winner at Five Flags Mobile. He's won over in Mississippi. He's won just about everywhere. Dickie Davis.
Right on. Yeah.
And she's having a blast. She said that she's not getting lapped. She's running as fast as she can go. They're making that car better. And one of the Ubelsteds is working on it, and he's getting it faster for her. So, it's good to see her out there racing. And, Brian Bleich's wife, Debbie's also going to have a car here soon. So,
yeah, you said he's kind of stepping back in the shadows a little bit and letting her have a little bit more of the spotlight.
Yeah, kind of. But Dickie's still Dickie. But the point being, it's going to be a hell of a race because you're talking about Ryan Bleich. I'm sorry.
Yes,
yeah, he did say that he was wanting her to have a little of the racing glory because he's not running for the championship. He said. Right. But I bet if he's leading the points late in the season, he is. Yeah. How much you want to bet? He's not going to say, no, I'll just sit. I want to lose the championship. I'm just going to sit out a couple races.
There might be something about that back-to-back thing.
Yeah, he's full of doo-doo if he thinks he's not going to run for that championship. But anyway, it's cool to see the ladies starting to get interest in this division and start to come race with us. And Dee's pretty good, man. If she gets that thing handling where she can drive it, I think she'll probably be in the top 5 before too long.
She could be a factor.
She could be, very well be. Congratulations, Dee Davis, for being our Story Bleich Roofing Crown Stock Driver of the Week.
Yep. Congratulations, Dee.
So... good racing all around these next couple of weeks. And we got Madison coming up. We got so much stuff going on. It's not even funny.
We got the Z-Max Cars Tour Late Model Stock and Pro Late Models coming to Ace Speedway in Altamaha, I hope, North Carolina.
That looks right.
Altamaha.
Yeah, I hope that's right. And it's got a pretty stellar field in both, but we'll run over the Pro Late entry list. First off, I got Kyle Campbell, Jimmy Renfrew Jr., Tristan McKee, Brandon Lopez, Ashton Higgins, Mason Lostra, Jake Bowman, William Sawalich. We've, the Minnesota Missile. We got
William.
Spencer Davis, Caden Quapple, Nick Loden, Joshua Horniman, I hope, Connor Jones, Caden Honeycutt, Tyler Tanner, Katie Hettinger, Ryan Moore, and TJ DeCare, and Dylan Garner in the Pro Lates. That's coming up this weekend in North Carolina. Be there.
Yeah, going to be some running double duty too.
Yeah, there's a whole several of them actually. Going to have a good time up there. Katie Hettinger being one of them. She's going to be also in the late model stock class as well. So that should be that also includes Brendan Queen, Ronnie Bassett Jr., Deke McCaskill. Good Lord, a lot of these guys running up there. It should be an interesting show. So get out there and support the tracks of your choice.
Well, the Cars Tour, they're growing exponentially, and they've got a big sponsor with Z-Max, so they're going to start paying some real money here soon, and they're probably going to pull a lot of late model guys racing in their series.
Yeah. See Trayton Lapsevich, Minnie Tyrell also in the late model stock as well, so should be a good one.
Isabella Robusto.
Robusto.
So I do also want to give a shout out to everybody down at Bronson Speedway. I know Ann Young has got a group down there trying to get back in the spotlight with Bronson Speedway. They're working diligently to get that track cleaned up and get everybody back out. I just want to, from our standpoint, if there's anything we can do to help, and this is one of the ways we can. We have listeners up here in the area and across the nation. Thanks to everybody that's gone out and spent your time to help them get that Bronson Speedway back and running.
Yeah, we don't want to see any racetracks closed, and that's a piece of history, and I'd like to see it stay open. And who knows, man, we may load up that 07 car and go down there and race. They got a class for us.
We'll make one.
Man, we'll go there and run our by ourselves. We'll just make some laps. Show up and practice and load up and go home. We won practice.
Yeah, and before we sign off, we do not really like to end on a sad note, but this is glorifying a life of someone that's really close to a lot of people in the racing industry. And Jim, would you do the...
Sure. Miss Jenny Bryant, Tim Bryant, and Randy Bryant's mother passed away, and everybody knows Bill's already gone to be with the Lord, and she's now with him. Wonderful people, just always knew who you were when you were at the races before they started having their health issues and things like that. They always talked to you. Very nice. Raised two good boys and a great family, and I'm just thankful to be racing at Five Flags around the Bryant family. And our thoughts and prayers go out to the Bryants as they have to bury their mother, but we know she's no longer hurting and she's in a better place.
That's it.
Yes. And we will end it that way.
Right.
Until next Wednesday, if we're allowed. Thanks to our listeners. Thanks to Story Bleich Roofing. Got a shout out to McDonald Muffler. I know they're coming back aboard. We don't know when yet, but while we're at it, we'll throw a big shout because they have helped us along the way.
Oh, yeah.
Do have merchandise still, hats and shirts. Take a look at the Facebook page. Get in touch with either one of us. Ted Baber, Jim Pokrant, Thomas Faddish. We will certainly take care of you and hook you up.
And we'll end with a 1,
2,
3. Let's go, Brandon.
Good night, everybody.
Be strong, America.
Thanks for listening.